Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Tuesday, December the 28th. We got an 8-game Tuesday slate. And as always, guys, we're going to go game by game. We're going to talk through each game on this 8-game slate, break down each team, give my early thoughts, what I do like at first look, taking a first look on this or at the slate on Monday night, and then as we do go through each game, we'll build out an early core, talk about 5 guys that I specifically like for both DraftKings and for Yahoo at first look. Now, as always, I say this in every video, and especially right now in the NBA, you've got to pay attention to injury news. You have to pay attention to injury updates. The core that I give out in this video, the guys that we talk about, these guys are not guaranteed to be in my lineup. News comes out during the day with COVID protocols right now just running wild. There's going to be players that get ruled out randomly that we don't expect to be out. It happened on Monday. Jason Tatum got ruled out for COVID protocols. DeAndre Ayton, DeLon Wright, Trae Young was out and then became available to play. So you got to pay attention to injury news. If you guys, if you really enjoy these first look videos, you want more content from me, I do provide updated content over on Patreon. You can check that out. Link down below in the description. Get access to my updated core plays, which I usually post about an hour before lock, and then I'll update them, up until lock if I have to. You'll get access to my positional plays, my favorite plays at each position, my rankings, my top 20 plays of the day, ranked in order of interest. You also get access to some of my favorite picks each day on Prize Picks. Now, for those of you that are new here and you haven't checked out Prize Picks yet, go sign up over there. Use code Noah when you do sign up for Prize Picks, and they will match your first deposit. Prize Picks will give you a free bet up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And again, if you want to check them out, sign up with my code. Check out what they have to offer. They are basically a player prop based DFS site. So, you're picking the over or the under on players' projections. Right now, they don't have any NBA props posted yet for Tuesday, but they'll get those posted probably early Tuesday morning. You can take a look at their NBA board. You can take a look at some stuff they have for NFL this week. They have college football, college basketball. Their Prize Picks offers a ton of sports. You can mix and match sports as well. Make sure when you sign up, use code Noah, and they'll give you a 100% match on your first deposit. They will basically, whatever you deposit, whether it be $50, $75, $100, they'll give you an additional, basically double your deposit. Whatever, if you deposit $50, they'll give you an additional $50 to play with. You deposit $100, they'll give you an additional $100 to play with. So check them out, guys. Sign up, use code Noah, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And if you guys do want some of my favorite picks each day on Prize Picks, I give those out for Patreon members. Again, you can check that out. Link down below in the description. But let's take a look at Tuesday's 8-game slate. We're going to start off with the Milwaukee and Orlando game. So looking at the Bucks today, they're not a team I really have much interest in at all. They're fully healthy right now. Giannis is back. Bobby Portis is back. Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton have both been priced up a lot for when Giannis and Portis were out, so they don't really stand out anymore. Bobby Portis is really expensive. He doesn't stand out. Giannis is always someone that you can play basically any slate. This is definitely a spot where I worry a little bit for Giannis just because I think there's a lot of blowout risk. Orlando is just such a bad team. I think these teams have already played this year. I know one game when they played Orlando, it was like a massive blowout, and Giannis only played like 25 or 26 minutes. I'd assume if this game is close that we get like 30, 32 minutes from Giannis. He only played 30 minutes on Christmas Day. He was in a little bit of foul trouble, though. I want to say that he probably would have played more than that, had he not been in some foul trouble. If we get 32, 33 minutes from Giannis against the Magic, obviously he could go for like 70, but I don't think Giannis is a standout pay-up option today. If I had to play anyone on Milwaukee, it would be him. But in general, I don't really love anyone on this team. DeMarcus Cousins played only 17 minutes last game. He's really hard to trust now with both Giannis and Portis back. You can't really go there. So if I had to play anyone in the Bucks, it would be Giannis. But even Giannis, I don't really love today when you have some other pay-up options that I like that we will talk about later. On the Orlando side, though, Orlando, again, another team I'm not that excited about. Now, Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, Chuma Okeke, there's still a lot of guys out for Orlando, but the price tags have kind of come up and reflect that now. Like Wendell Carter's $8K, Franz Wagner's $7,200, Gary Harris is $5K. Gravit's been starting, but he really hasn't been doing much in the starting lineup. I mean, he's not a guy that really offers much of a ceiling. He probably starts and plays like 30 minutes at $3,600. I think he's an okay value play, but still not someone that I'd be super excited about. The Magic are a team I usually don't really roster that much this year. The only time I have played Magic has been when they've been really, really depleted. When the pricing was really low on some of these guys. Well, that's not really the case anymore. They're still depleted. They're still missing a lot of guys, but the pricing kind of reflects that now. I'm assuming the starting lineup will be Wendell Carter, Wagner, Gary Harris, Gravit, and then I don't know who else will start. We'll have to wait and see what the starting lineup is because Chuma Okeke's been starting and now he's out. So maybe like Admiral Schofield, maybe, I mean, I have no idea like who they're going to start here. That could definitely change some things, who winds up starting for Okiki. They could maybe go small, play like Gary Harris at the 3, and then start RJ Hampton. If that were to happen, like I think RJ Hampton, if he starts, would actually be a pretty good value play. He did play 32 minutes in their last game against Miami, so definitely keep an eye on their starting lineup. I think if Barrett starts, he's my favorite play from the Magic. Or not Barrett, but Hampton. I think if Hampton starts, he's probably my favorite play from the Magic. But again, this is not a team that I'm too excited about. There's really not much to love from Orlando. Now, in the next game, looking at Washington and Miami. So Washington, we got some big news to watch here with Bradley Beal, who is currently questionable for COVID protocols. He's hopeful to be able to play today. If Beal does play, I mean, that's probably going to take me off of Kuzma. It's going to take me off of Dinwiddie. Obviously, Kuzma and Dinwiddie have been playing really well lately with Beal out. Kuzma, it's been okay. Dinwiddie's had that massive game against the Knicks. I don't think either one of these guys would be that appealing if Beal plays. If Beal's out, I think Dinwiddie and Kuzma would both be viable. But given where they're priced at now, like I still don't think they'd be great options. Montrezl Harrell, Daniel Gafford, when it comes to the center rotation, it's just always tough to go there. You just never know who's going to get the minutes. Some nights it'll be Gafford, some nights it'll be Harrell. Both these guys are really good point per minute players. So if you get like 28 minutes from Gafford, he could do really well. But I just don't think I'd be banking on that. Rui Hachimura, I think, has a chance to play. He actually is expected to be available. He's questionable right now, but they expect him to play. So Rui Hachimura is going to make his season debut. I mean, that's just going to make me even more worried about Harrell and Gafford. I could see maybe Rui playing some minutes at center. So, yeah, don't love many Wizards today. I think the only way I'd be getting to this team is if Bradley Beal's out again. Now, on the Miami side, Miami is a team I do like quite a bit today. So they're missing Bam Adebayo. They're also missing Kyle Lowry, who just got put in COVID protocols. They're missing some other guys too. Dwayne Dedmon's out. PJ Tucker, I think, is questionable right now. Yeah, he's questionable. But really, Bam and Lowry being out is the big one. And without Bam and without Lowry, I mean, we should expect a massive workload for Jimmy Butler. We should expect a ton of usage for him. In his first game back, after missing like 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks, he played 35 minutes first game back. So we should not be worried about any sort of limit here for Jimmy Butler. He should play a ton of minutes if this is a close game. He's only 9,300. Like, I think that's definitely too cheap for Jimmy with Bam and Lowry both out. Jimmy might start at point guard. He should get a lot of usage or assist numbers. His usage should be through the roof. He only had 4 assists last game, but I think his assists will definitely go up without Bam and without Lowry. And at 9,300, I definitely like Jimmy Butler a lot on this slate. I think he's a really good pay-up option. He's pretty affordable on Yahoo too. I think he looks like a pretty good small forward option over there at $44. Jimmy is definitely my favorite play from Miami, but I think Tyler Hero without Lowry should play a ton. Now, he only played 19 minutes last game, but he did actually get ejected. I can't remember when it happened. I think it was early in the third quarter he got ejected. I'd expect Hero to play probably 32, 34 minutes here. He might come off the bench again. He's been coming off the bench lately, but he'll still play a ton of minutes. Should have a lot more opportunity without Lowry on the floor. Should get some minutes without Jimmy as well. Like, whenever Hero gets to play without Jimmy on the floor, he's going to be really productive in those minutes just because he's going to be the guy getting all the usage then. At 6,800, I think Tyler Hero looks pretty appealing today. And then guys like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, I'm not really that high on. Their prices have come up to a point where they don't really stand out anymore. I mean, you're basically paying a premium for both these guys. You're going to need a lot to go right for them to really justify these price points. And then I think the same could be said for Duncan Robinson as well. I don't think Duncan Robinson looks that appealing either. But the other guy I want to talk about is Yurt7. So Yurt7 actually started at center last game and was really productive, played 33 minutes, had 37 DraftKings points. Without Bam and without Dedmon, I'm expecting Yurt7 to start at center again. He's been a really good point per minute player this year. When he's gotten minutes, he's been able to produce at a really high rate. I think Yurt7 looks like one of the better value plays at first look. His price tag did go up a little bit, but I still think it's too cheap, honestly. He should be like closer to 6K. If we project Yurt7 to play 32, 34 minutes, I mean, he's going to project for over 30 DraftKings points. So Yurt7 at 4,800 with Bam and Dedmon both out again looks like a really good value play. I like him quite a bit on Yahoo as well. He is very cheap over there, just $12. I think he's a standout option. And then PJ Tucker is questionable. If he plays, I don't think I'd have much interest in him anyways. Maybe if he plays, that would make Yurt7 a little bit riskier, just because we have seen when PJ Tucker is in the lineup, they will play PJ Tucker at center some. But I still think we get at least like 26, 28 minutes from Yurt7, which is going to make him stand out as a really good value play. But that's probably it for Miami. I think that's all that I really see here. So next game, Philly and Toronto. Looking at the Sixers today, there really isn't much that stands out from Philly. You know, you're kind of paying the max price for like all these Sixers right now. Joel Embiid's 12,100, Tobias Harris is 9K, Seth Curry's 6,500. Like, none of these guys are cheap. They don't really stand out at their price tags. Obviously, Embiid has a massive ceiling and can go for 60, 70 fantasy points any night, but when he's closely priced to Jokic like he is today, I'm just going to prefer Jokic. Jokic is a better point per minute player. Jokic has shown a higher floor this year. He's also shown a pretty high ceiling as well, definitely a higher ceiling than Embiid. Embiid should be really low owned at this price tag. If you want to go there in GPPs, it's fine, but I don't love really anyone on Philly. I think if I had to play a Sixer today, it would be Embiid, but there's not much that stands out from the Sixers in my opinion. And then on Toronto, it's kind of a wait and see with Toronto. They could get some guys back today. Right now, Pascal Siakam and Gary Trent are both listed as questionable. They could come back from health and safety protocols. If they both wind up playing, that's going to make things pretty risky for these Toronto guys because obviously, you know, Toronto, they've been really injury depleted lately. They had to run an 8-man rotation last game because they only had 8 available players. Well, now they could get Siakam back. They could get Gary Trent back. I think Kim Birch is questionable too, so he could maybe come back today. If all these guys play, I don't really see a ton that stands out from Toronto outside of Siakam and Trent. Now, Siakam and Trent, first game back from COVID protocols, we don't really know how many minutes they're going to play. But what we do know is that Nick Nurse, you know, he plays his guys just a ton of minutes. Like Siakam, most nights plays like 38, 40 minutes. I don't think he's going to put minutes limits on these guys just because, you know, when they're healthy, they usually play a ton of minutes. And I'd assume they've been conditioning enough that they're, you know, in good enough shape to play their full minutes. So I think Siakam at 9,400, if he plays, looks kind of appealing because Van Vliet, Barnes, OG are all out right now. Same could be said for Gary Trent. He should have a really heavy workload if he's able to play. Should get a ton of shots up, should play a ton of minutes. He would look kind of appealing at 6,100. And then Chris Boucher did play 28 minutes last game in a massive blowout against Cleveland. He was pretty productive, had 30 DK points in in that time. You know, his production would definitely come down a little bit if Siakam and Trent play. But I still think Boucher, you know, with the probably 28, 30 minutes that he'll get is going to be enough for him to pay off this price tag because we know Boucher is a really, really good point per minute player. He would still be viable. We would want to make sure he's starting. Like if Boucher doesn't start, then obviously I wouldn't play him. But if he's still starting, I think at 6,200 he is definitely viable. And then the rest of these Toronto guys like Utah Watanabe, Svi Mykhailiuk, Banton, like these guys are probably only in play for me if everyone that's questionable winds up out. So like last game when they only had 8 players, Utah played 37 minutes, even in a huge blowout. Svi Mykhailiuk played 36 minutes. He was pretty good at his salary. Banton didn't play as much as I thought he would. Only 24 minutes for him, but you know, if Trent, if Siakam, all those guys are out, I think Banton would definitely be viable at 4K because basically they're only going to have 8 available players if I'm pretty sure they're only going to have 8 available players if you know, all these questionable guys don't play. Now, if all these questionable guys play, well, that definitely changes things, but we could definitely consider some of these value guys if Siakam's out, if Trent's out, if Birch is out. I'd only be considering them though if they don't play. So kind of just a wait and see here with Toronto. We'll have to wait and see, you know, who's actually going to be available for them. If they only have an 8-man rotation again like they did last game, then yeah, feel free to fire up Boucher, fire up Utah Watanabe. Banton I'd be fine going back to as well. And I know DJ Wilson had a really good game too. Played 34 minutes, had 40 DK points. You know, again, if there's only 8 available players for Toronto, you could definitely go to DJ Wilson at 3,800 as well for value. But that's it for that game. Moving on to the next one, the Lakers and the Rockets. So look at the Lakers today. You know, we kind of know the situation here. No AD, Kent Bazemore still out. Obviously, AD being out is the big one. Without AD, we should expect a lot of opportunity for both LeBron and Russell Westbrook. LeBron is definitely the guy I have a lot more confidence in, that I feel a lot better about right now. You know, on Christmas Day, even in a tough loss against the Nets, LeBron put up a massive game, 68 DraftKings points and played 40 minutes. He's been playing a ton of minutes this year. You know, I don't think the Lakers are good enough at this point to really blow anyone out. So even though they're playing the Rockets, I think this will be a close game, and I think we'll see LeBron play his full 36, 40 minutes. So I definitely like LeBron as a pay-up option. I think Russell Westbrook is viable. You know, he's looked a little bit better lately, but still, you know, you're paying a premium for Russell Westbrook. He hasn't really justified this price tag in a while. You know, you look at the game log, he has less than 50 DraftKings points in 10 straight games. He's nothing more than a dart throw. You're just hoping that, you know, you get like a triple-double or something. He did have a triple-double last game, but he shot the ball god-awful, 4 for 20, 0 for 3 from 3. You know, Russell Westbrook's been super, super inconsistent this year. He's not been that great playing alongside LeBron. I don't love him, but he's at least viable, I guess. It is a really good matchup against Houston. You know, revenge game as well for what that's worth. And then the rest of the Lakers, like THT, Carmelo, Dwight Howard, like I just don't think I'm going to go to any of these guys. Stanley Johnson did play pretty well off the bench. 27 minutes, 12. He didn't have many DK points, just 12 DK points, but he looked really good off the bench. He was playing good defense. I think, as a dart throw, he might be fine. But it's really LeBron here that stands out the most from the Lakers, and that's probably it. Now, on the Houston side, we'll have to pay attention to the injury report from Houston. So, Jayshawn Tate got put in COVID protocols on Monday, so he'll be out today. KPJ and Jalen Green both did not play on Monday. They were available to play, but they didn't play. I'm assuming that's because it's a back-to-back, so they wanted them to sit out Monday so that they could play today. So I'm expecting KPJ to play. I'm expecting Jalen Green to play. I mean, that's going to make all these other guys look pretty unappealing, like Eric Gordon, Armani Brooks, Josh Christopher. I think Christian Wood in tournaments makes some sense. It is a really good matchup against the Lakers. I think this is a spot where Christian Wood can have a lot of success if this game stays close and he plays his full minutes. I liked Christian Wood a lot on Monday and a good matchup against Charlotte. And, surely enough, the Rockets went out there, got the shit beat out of him. Wood only played like 25 minutes. That's always the worry, rostering basically any Rockets, is that they can just get blown out any night. But I think if the game stays close, against in a game with two really fast-paced teams going up against each other, this could wind up being a really high-scoring, fast-paced game. Could be a shootout. If you get a close game and you get full minutes from Christian Wood, I think he's got upside, and I don't think anyone's going to play him. So in tournaments, I kind of like Christian Wood. KPJ, first game back. Jalen Green, I'm not too high on these guys. Like Jalen Green looked pretty good last game in limited minutes, but now that he's playing with KPJ, like he just hasn't been as productive playing alongside KPJ this year, so I don't really have that much interest in Jalen Green. I think it's just Christian Wood from Houston, and that's probably it from this Rockets team. Even in a good match against the Lakers, I don't know if I'm going to go to KPJ or Green, just because it's the first game back from injury. We don't really know if they're going to be on a minutes limit, or at least for KPJ, it's his first game back from injury. He hasn't played in like 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, I think we can move on to the next game, talk about the Knicks and the Timberwolves. So look at the Knicks today. Julius Randle, 10-5. I don't think at this price point, Julius Randle really stands out as like a priority pay-up option. I think he is viable just because we know Julius Randle is going to play 36, close to 40 minutes if this is a close game. I think you're overpaying for Julius Randle right now. Like he's kind of been like Russell Westbrook, where he really hasn't been justifying his price tag. You look at the game log, less than 50 Draftkings points in 10 straight games. Obviously, Randle has upside. I don't think he's a great pay-up option, but he's viable, I guess. Alec Burks, I don't really like it. His price tag, he went back to the bench last game. He's basically out of play for me. He only played 18 minutes. Kemba Walker, though, I think at 6,900 still looks pretty appealing. He's been starting, obviously the last 4 games he has started, and he should continue to start. I mean, Kemba's just been playing so well that they're going to have to play him big minutes every night. He's been providing them offense. He's been giving them a lot of scoring. And not only, he hasn't been really scoring dependent either. One thing about Kemba is that, a lot of times when you get guys like this that are really chalky, that go on these hot stretches where they're just scoring a ton, they're usually guys that you can fade and just hope that they don't really make shots. But, I mean, we've seen Kemba really contribute with the peripherals as well. I mean, 3 assists, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 9 rebounds. Last game, a triple-double, 12 assists, 10 rebounds to go along with 10 points. Like, Kemba had a terrible shooting game, shot 3 for 12, 2 for 9 from 3, and he still had 45 Draftkings points. Like, he's been doing it all lately. Been getting points, been getting rebounds, been getting assists. He's going to play a ton of minutes as well. Like, I know the Knicks are getting some guys back. Like, RJ Barrett's back, Emmanuel Quickley's back, Quentin Grimes is back. But with how well Kemba's been playing without Derrick Rose, like, he's going to continue to start and play 35, 40 minutes a night. So I still think Kemba at 6,900 looks really appealing. He's definitely my favorite play from the Knicks. And then the rest of these guys, like RJ Barrett, Fournier, Quickley, I'm not really on. I think it's just Kemba here that stands out. You could obviously take a shot on Julius Randle as well. But Kemba is my favorite play from New York today. And then on the Minnesota side, so Minnesota was super shorthanded on Monday's slate, and it looks like that's going to be the case once again for Tuesday. Cat, Russell, Anthony Edwards, Jared Vanderbilt, Naz Reid, all these guys are out right now for COVID protocols, and I don't think they're going to be back anytime soon, at least not for Tuesday's game. So I'm expecting basically everyone that was out Monday to be out again on Tuesday. And if that's the case, I mean, we saw what happened Monday. Malik Beasley didn't have a great game, but he played 39 minutes. And for some reason, his price went down from 6,200 to 5,400. So Malik Beasley looks like a really good option on this slate. I don't know why his price tag went down. We should expect him to play a ton of minutes once again, have a massive workload, get a ton of usage. He looks like a really good play on both sides. He's pretty affordable on Yahoo as well. Price tag did go up a little bit there, but $23. I think Malik Beasley's really appealing. Patrick Beverley was questionable on Monday and did not play. I think Patrick Beverley has a pretty good chance to play today. If he does wind up playing, I think Patrick Beverley would definitely be viable just with how many guys are out right now for Minnesota. He would have a lot of opportunity if he's able to play. Jaden McDaniels played a ton of minutes, started, played 36 minutes, had 28 DK points. I think he's priced probably where he should be. I don't think he's nearly as underpriced as like Malik Beasley is, but 4,800, I still think Jaden McDaniels is viable. And then Jalen Noel came off the bench, but he played a ton, 35 minutes, 45 DraftKings points. I think I'd only be going to Jalen Noel if Patrick Beverley's out again. If Patrick Beverley plays, that's obviously going to hurt Noel just because that's another guard in the rotation that could take minutes away from him. But if Beverley's out, I think Noel's a really good value. I think Jordan McLaughlin's a really good value as well. He started, played 32 minutes, had 27 DK points. He's almost minimum salary, 3,200. Like, he's another guy we could go to for value. And then Nathan Knight started at center. We talked about Nathan Knight in Monday's video. I mean, his price tag for some reason didn't move. 3,200. He played 29 minutes starting at center, had 45 DraftKings points. Nathan Knight, when he's gotten minutes, he has always been a really productive player. He's a guy that will score, get rebounds, so kind of just stuff the stat sheet and do everything. So 3,200. If Nathan Knight starts at center again, I mean, he's going to be one of the best value plays on the slate. I think he looks really appealing on both sides. He's still very cheap, minimum salary on Yahoo. Love him over there as well. So yeah, man, there's a ton to like from Minnesota. I think if Patrick Beverley remains out, Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, Jalen Noel, Jordan McLaughlin, Nathan Knight, like all five of those guys look really appealing. Jake Layman, you could even consider. He played 36 minutes. I'm not as excited about Jake Layman. I don't know how much upside he really has, but man, 36 minutes, like he'd be viable. Okogie started, but he didn't play a ton. I don't think I'd be going to Okogie on this slate. I think I'd probably just stick with the guys that we talked about. And that's really it for Minnesota now. Could things change here, and could we get word that Anthony Edwards is available to play? Like, that could always happen, but for now I'm just going to assume that everyone that was out will be out again, which obviously makes this Minnesota team look really appealing. There's going to be a lot of value, a lot of guys to like from Minnesota. The next game though we'll talk about is Cleveland and New Orleans. So on Cleveland today, still a lot of outs here. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley still out. Obviously Colin Sexton out for the year. J.D. Osman out. I think really what we want to talk about with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley both out is Kevin Love. So Kevin Love actually did start last game. He hasn't started all year, but it was his first time making a start. We saw them start Taco Fall at center against Boston last time they played. They didn't obviously do that today or on last game against Toronto. I don't even know how many minutes Taco Fall played. Like, I don't even know if he got in the rotation. Yeah, okay, so he did still play 11 minutes. I don't know if that was like blowout or what, but given that Kevin Love started at center last game, I think Kevin Love probably starts at center again. I mean, Kevin Love this year has been an incredible point per minute player. You saw what he did in only 18 minutes in a massive blowout, just 18 minutes. 40 DraftKings points from Kevin Love in 18 minutes. 41 DK points in 23 minutes. 32 DK points in 23 minutes. 25 and 15. 37 DK points in 24 minutes. Like, he's been unreal this year. He's been scoring a ton. He's been getting a ton of rebounds. Like, Kevin Love is still a really, really good point per minute player. If he starts, I'd have to assume he plays at least high 20s minutes. And at 6,700, I think Kevin Love would be my favorite play from this Cleveland team. I definitely like him a lot if he winds up starting again. Obviously, we should expect him to play more than 18 minutes here. This should be a close game against the Pelicans. So really like Kevin Love. I think Garland, Rubio, not that interesting, especially Garland. Like, Garland's almost 10K now. I mean, you can't play Garland at that price tag. Ricky Rubio, I think, is still viable just because he's going to start and probably play over 30 minutes. He's only 6,400. Like, I still think Ricky Rubio's fine. But that's probably it for Cleveland. My favorite play here is definitely Kevin Love. He looks the most appealing. If he winds up starting again, he's for sure my favorite play from this team. I know Dean Wade's been starting lately. I don't think he's been doing much, though. 28 minutes, 26 DK points last game. I guess if Dean Wade starts, 3,800, he'd be a viable punt play. Where there's probably going to be better value available on this slate specifically, especially like on Minnesota. Other side, though, with New Orleans. So big news here. Brandon Ingram is doubtful for New Orleans today. So Brandon Ingram, obviously a high usage player. Getting him off the floor, that's going to allow for guys like J-Val, Devontae Graham to get more opportunity. J-Val is expected to play today. He is probable. J-Val's price tag went way up, 9,700. So even with Brandon Ingram out, like, I don't think I really have much interest in J-Val today. Obviously, J-Val's been great this year. He's been a really good point per minute player. He should have a ton of opportunity without Brandon Ingram, but you're really paying a premium for J-Val. I think if you play on Yahoo, J-Val definitely looks a lot better there. $33. I'd be a lot more likely to play him on Yahoo. But Josh Hart's also questionable, so this is pretty important. Josh Hart plays a ton of minutes every night. If he were to miss, that would open up some more minutes for like Herbert Jones, Garrett Temple. I think with Brandon Ingram doubtful, the biggest beneficiaries are definitely going to be J-Val, Josh Hart, and Devontae Graham. Josh Hart's up to 7,300 now. Like, he doesn't look that appealing. Obviously, J-Val's really expensive. I think 6K Devontae Graham is kind of appealing. Devontae Graham has been a guy that I really haven't played at all this season, but now you get no Brandon Ingram. Without Brandon Ingram, that just opens up so much usage. The offense should run through Devontae Graham. Like, he should get a ton of opportunities, should take a ton of shots. He's been really inconsistent this year, but I think the upside is definitely there with Ingram off the floor. The matchup against Cleveland's not great. Cleveland's been a really good defensive team this year. But I think Devontae Graham is playable on the slate. I think he's probably my favorite play from New Orleans in general. It's probably it, though. Like, I don't think I'd be going to anyone else. Starting lineup could definitely dictate some things, but as of now, I think, with Brandon Ingram doubtful, Devontae Graham at his DK price might be my favorite play. Josh Hart, J-Val, I think are expensive enough to where they're not like standout plays today. But we can go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Denver and Golden State. So looking at Denver today, Nikola Jokic, 12,400. I mean, he's got to be one of the best pay-up options on the slate. Jokic, basically any slate he's on is a top pay-up option for me, and I think that's definitely the case here. Golden State is going to be without Draymond Green today, so I think that's pretty good for Jokic. Obviously, Draymond is a really good defender. I don't know like how Jokic has done in the past against the Warriors. I want to say that he's kind of struggled against Golden State in the past. I might be wrong there. I think Draymond Draymond defends everyone well, but now that Draymond's out, like that definitely is going to make things better for Nikola Jokic. So I think Jokic on this slate, especially since we're probably going to have a lot of value, he looks like one of the better pay-up options right there with Jimmy Butler. The rest of the Nuggets, though, like I'm not really that interested in. Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, I don't think are that appealing. Monte Morris is probable. He's expected to play. Aaron Gordon's questionable. Once again, he was out last game. Even if he sits again, like I don't think that really changes much. So for me from Denver, it's Jokic, and I think that's it. And then on the Golden State side, obviously Draymond is out right now, so I don't know if really usage-wise that changes much because Draymond's not like a high-usage player. He doesn't take a lot of shots. He just kind of, facilitates the offense. But Steph Curry, regardless, is going to get massive opportunity, massive usage. Steph at 11.5, you're really overpaying for him right now. He's not a guy that really ever projects well at his salary, but we know Steph can go out there and put up a massive game any night. I mean, we saw him go for 63 against Memphis, had 57 on Christmas Day against Phoenix. I still think Steph is viable. He's just not like a standout play at this price point. I'd rather play Jokic. Probably would rather play Embiid. Probably would rather play Jimmy Butler as well for cheaper. So don't love Steph personally. I think Andrew Wiggins, without Jordan Poole and without Draymond, maybe Andrew Wiggins gets more opportunity. His price tag went up, though, to 6,800, so still he doesn't really stand out to me on this slate. I think the value is what we can really look to from Golden State. So without Draymond, without Jordan Poole, I'm expecting they start Gary Payton and Otto Porter once again. Gary Payton and Otto Porter both started on Christmas Day, and I'm assuming those are going to be the guys that start, once again for Golden State. Gary Payton did start and played a good amount of minutes, 30 minutes against Phoenix, 33 minutes the game before that against Memphis. If Payton starts again, I think he plays around 30 minutes, and he's been a pretty good point per minute player this year when he's gotten minutes. He's been a productive player, can do a little bit of everything. I think at 5K, he would be a viable paydown option. I think Otto Porter at 4,900 looks like a really good value play. Otto Porter's been great this year with the Warriors, been really, really productive on a point per minute basis, and you've seen that his last three games, 29 minutes, 30 minutes, and 29 minutes, 31, 32, and 34 DraftKings points. He's been scoring really well. He's been shooting the ball really well. He's been getting rebounds, been getting some assists as well. Still pretty cheap at 4,900. I know the price tag came up a good amount from what he was on the Christmas Day slate, but if we project Otto Porter to play 30 to 32 minutes, I think he's going to project for like high 20s, low 30s DraftKings points, which is pretty solid at 4,900. There's a lot of value today, but I think Otto Porter at 4,900 looks pretty appealing. I do like him on Yahoo as well. He is pretty cheap over there. If you want to play him on Yahoo, just $15. I'm expecting him to start again in place of Draymond, which does make Otto Porter look like a really good value, along with Gary Payton, who should start as well. And then the rest of the Golden State guys, I'm not really that interested in. I think without Draymond, they probably are going to have to play Kevon Looney a ton of minutes just because they don't really have anyone else to match up with Jokic. So, like, maybe if we get, like, 28, 30 minutes from Kevon Looney at 3,700, he could be a viable cheap play. Kevon Looney doesn't really have much of a ceiling. I mean, you look at his game log, even when he does play, like, 30 minutes, he still doesn't offer a ton of upside. But, like, if you're playing the night slate, I think Kevon Looney would definitely be viable. I don't know if I'd be playing him on the full main slate, though. But, yeah, that's it for Golden State. We can talk about the last game of the night, OKC and Sacramento. So, on OKC today, they're missing some guys that are out right now for COVID protocols. No Darius Bazley, no JRE, no Poku. Trey Mann out as well. I still don't think that changes much for this OKC team. They still have a lot of bodies. We know OKC is going to run a super deep rotation. They're going to play basically everyone. They're going to give a ton of guys minutes. If this game is close, we should expect a lot of minutes for SGA and a lot of minutes for Josh Giddey, a lot of minutes for Lou Dort. But even at their price points, they don't really stand out to me. SGA is almost 10K, Giddey's almost 8K, so I don't love too much from OKC. We'll have to wait and see what the starting lineup is, who starts for JRE. I know that Bazley's been coming off the bench lately, I want to say. I haven't even been paying attention to the Thunder lately just because I haven't been playing like any Thunder as of late. Depending on what the starting lineups looks like, that can maybe change some things. Like if Kendrick Williams starts, he'd be a really good value because he's a good point per minute player, but I don't think they're going to start him. So yeah, like I just don't really like much on the Thunder. I've been trying my best to just not play Thunder. And as of late, it really hasn't cost me. Like, I don't think there's been many slates lately. I know SGA, he went for a massive game against Denver earlier, like a week ago, but really feels like almost every slate, there's never any Thunder in the winning lineup just because this team, they're so bad. Even when you guys have good games, like where they're priced at, they still don't project that well at their salaries. Like, even if SGA goes for 50 today, there's a good chance he still won't be in the winning lineup. Like, it won't even matter. So, yeah, just not going to play any Thunder on this slate. And then on the Kings side, there's not much that I like from the Kings either because they're kind of getting healthy now. They've got De'Aaron Fox back. They've got Rashawn Holmes back. They've got Marvin Bagley back. Terrence Davis is back as well. Alex Len could play. Like they've got basically everyone. Halliburton obviously was priced up a lot for when all those guys were out, so he doesn't really stand out anymore. De'Aaron Fox at 8K I think is viable as like a low-owned tournament play. But man, like I think in general this game is just super unappealing. Obviously, COVID news could change some things. Like, we could get guys ruled out for COVID. It happens all the time. For the most part, though, like, everyone on Sacramento's kind of already been out for COVID, so I don't think that'd really happen. So, yeah, like, this is a game that I'm just not that interested in. I'm kind of just going to full fade this one. Not too much I like on either side of OKC, Sacramento. So, that does it, guys. That does it for all 8 games on this Tuesday slate. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well. Again, go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of the video. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do sign up, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And if you want some of my favorite picks each day on PrizePicks, you can check out my Patreon, link down below in the description. I do give give out a lot of additional content over there. Some of my favorite picks each day on PrizePicks. I post those for Patreon members. You can check that all out. Link down below in the description. But best of luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.